Hi, so this is episode 2 of the sketching anatomy series. Today we're going to do the face, something that a lot of you guys will be interested in. We're going to be working from same book as before, Figure Drawing, Design and Invention by Michael Hampton. Going to be studying some of these photos. Yeah, and especially with the face, the best thing I recommend that you do is to study the skull, the underlying structure underneath, so that you see different landmarks, different things that you can use when you draw the face for yourself. Yeah, and we're going to be following the same process of copying, and then sketching from reference, and then sketching completely blind in terms of just sketching from imagination to see how much knowledge we actually manage to retain. Yeah, so let's go into it. I'll put part of the book here so you can see. So I'm starting off with this one here. So definitely when I start, I like to draw like a circle shape, and then I'll find where the center line is. So I'll take this down, I'll find the center line. Next thing I'll do is find where that jawbone is coming from. So I'll just do like a light indicator like this, and a light indicator like that to close off the jawbone. I mean, you can imagine it as a sphere, and then you've got like half a cylinder attached to that. So you can imagine it like that. Breaking it down into shapes like this helps you understand how to go about shading the object. So let's say there was a light source coming from here. You know that over here is going to be in shadow. This side is going to be in shadow. Maybe we've got like a half tone, and then we've got like a highlight there. But breaking it down into these simple shapes also helps you to learn how to light the form, and determine which faces are facing towards the light, which faces are facing away from the light. Okay, so let's carry on. The next thing I like to do is do where the eye socket is on this. So right here, where that eye socket is, I like to draw this ridge. So I will draw like a line across to determine where are the eyes, where are the eyes in line with, and then I'll draw that ridge. And then we draw that part, this part of the bone here that's sticking out on the cheekbone, and then it goes back down into where the maxilla is. And it has like this rhythm to it where it's like, here's the eye socket, comes out for the cheekbone, then goes back in, comes back out, goes back in, comes back out slightly, and then goes like that. So it has like a squiggly sort of rhythm to it, like that. So for here, we'll draw the cheekbone. Where the mouth is, you can definitely imagine that, okay, let's say we have this half a cylinder. you can imagine it as if I draw a line going through the middle of that, and then if I draw like a triangular shape, connect that line to the triangular shape, I do that. You can imagine it as like a protrusion. And then if we had to do all that, it's not perfect, but the mouth is kind of like that, where it's, and that's why you get the whole, that's why you get the in and out. So as I come down to the mouth, I'm gonna go out, well I'm gonna go in, then out, where the teeth are, and then I'm gonna go in just before the chin, and I'm gonna go back out. And now we've got like the side of the face here. Next thing I'll look for, so I'll actually look for this ridge here, the top of the eye socket, so I'm just gonna sketch that in. And sometimes the nose will, if it's like a side view, it will overlap, that nose ridge will overlap with where the eye socket is, so just gonna draw that in. Now I'll just draw the end of the eye socket in and draw like a circle shape to indicate that eye socket there. Can do some lines there to show that that's in shadow. And then I can come across and find this line here. So I can see that it's curving up and coming back round. And then we've got where that eye socket is. I will one thing I will do, I'll scribble lightly to indicate where something is, and then I'll go in with more confident lines when I'm sure. Definitely helps. I mean, if you're digitally sketching, then you can do a similar thing, just turn down your opacity, do like a squiggle, and then start a new layer and draw over the top of that with more confident and bold lines. So I'm just doing where that eye socket is, right here. And we've got the two. I'm just gonna then I like to find like the zygomatic arch going down to where the ear is. Like it is this kind of shape here. It has like this kind of shape, and then I guess you can always, okay, one thing that I found funny is that you can always imagine this is the eye sockets as like sunglasses, and then this is just the extension of those sunglasses. So here, I'm just gonna take like an arching curve. It's gonna come out, in, and we get the zygomatic arch right there, or the zygomatic bone, and then as the zygomatic bone comes back, it will come back and then fold into the mandible. It will go like this, look. And it's gonna curve, so we're gonna curve it like this, and it's gonna go down to where the teeth are. And in this image, teeth are like this. One way I've seen to try and get this sort of thing, you can always imagine it as like I guess like a face plate, if that makes sense. So let's say we've got this here, we've got the eye line here, we've got this here, we got that there. Got that there. As it folds down, you can actually see it as like more of like a faceplate, and it comes in like this, where they're just before the chin. Now you can draw a line across to indicate the middle of where that mouth is going to be. Okay, this is going to fold in because this is where the brow ridge is. Going to come back in like this. Just going to draw across. And the key is to remember that this is a 3D shape, so something very basic is half thinking about a cube, and then the other half of you will be thinking about the fact that it's a rounded cube as well. So it's kind of like a combination of these two shapes. So I'm just drawing the edge of that skull, bring it in like this, and right here underneath this zygomatic arch, just gonna draw where the jawbone is, bring that down like that. There's always like this kind of gap here, so I'm gonna just draw that gap. And then there's also a kind of gap right here, so I'm just gonna draw that gap as well. You can see like the skull's starting to take shape. Gonna do this in shadow, as they have on the drawing. This connects right to where the spine is. And you can see they're constantly thinking about the 3D form, so they're constantly drawing like lines to depict the direction of things, like that. Now let's do where the mouth is. So the teeth, I mean, you don't actually have to draw every tooth. You can just draw like an indication of them, kind of like that. I'm just drawing like mini U shapes. And then some of them you can bring back up like this. And got teeth. And just where the brow ridge is, do that. That's our skull. Another idea has always been to do like this. So you got the two eye sockets, you got the nose, and then you've got these parts going down into the mandible where the mouth is. So that's another way to kind of visualize that skull shape. So I'm just going to sketch a few more. Center line. It's that nose shape, and you can see we've got like that squiggle. Okay, so from like a complete side view, we're getting where the eye socket is, right here. And then we can draw that zygomatic arch. Right where the ear would be, somewhere there. Now I'm not saying that all your drawings have to be perfect, you're studying. To understand, you can see that this is the cheekbone right here. So it draws the cheekbone, and that's coming in to where the mouth is, right here. We've got that little duct here, that little duct there. Circular shape here at the end, and then. But yeah, this is how I'll go about studying things, or studying things. Sometimes it's learning something new, sometimes it's picking something back up. Yeah, and so from the side view, eye socket, this is gonna be where that nose is. Mouth, little dip, little dip. This is like the jaw shape. Zygomatic bone. This would actually be where the temporal muscle is, and then you'd have the ear here. Yeah. Different landmarks to remember. Let's move on to the next thing. But yeah, I will keep drawing stuff kind of like this. Okay, let's move on to the face. So I can show you where some of those landmarks are. So you can take this, for example. Let's use this. Okay, so same sort of process though. The process doesn't change. Circle shape. And if you want to be more accurate, slow it down and think a bit more about where you're placing things. I find the slower that you go, the more accurate and the more thinking that you do, so you actually plan out where things are gonna go. So that's center line. Can draw that line there to indicate this is probably where the brow is rather than anything, and then can draw that eye socket in. So this is just this corner here of the eye socket. And then you can see here we've got the cheekbone right here. And you can see it's a lot less pronounced in terms of like where the mouth is, and it's not like a triangle shape because the head is tilted more like this. Let's do that. Okay, we've got the general gist of the shape. And so now we just come in with the landmark. So I always like to take the edge of the eye socket. So right here is what I mean by the edge of the eye socket. So I'll come in this. And I'll just draw like a little thing going there. I'll draw where the nose is. So the nose is kind of like just underneath where the cheekbone is, and just measuring proportions, thinking about where things are in tangent to one another. And then mouth, it's about halfway between the nose and the bottom of the chin. So I'm just going to draw that in. Bring this in here. And then in terms of the ear, if I follow across, we get like the bottom of the nose, follow across, top of the eye. So I'll take that measurement. I'll measure bottom of the nose, top of where the eye is. So our ear is going to be roughly about here. Okay, so let's draw that nose coming up. You can draw where that eye is. So I'll just draw like the top lid here. I'll then draw that eye shadow shape to indicate where the eye actually is looking. And then I'm just gonna shade that out because it's in shadow. So we're gonna shade that out and then smudge because that's in shadow too. And if you squint, if you want to see shadows more effectively, squint. That's the best way to observe. Okay, gonna just take that into shadow and then combine that into shadow here because this is also in shadow. And I can just smudge to blend that in. That's also in shadow. Okay, let's draw where the other eye is. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll draw like a circle and then draw where that eye is, and that kind of helps just get like, so I'm gonna do it here, the circle, and then draw where the other eye is. And by no means is my drawings perfect at all. I'm just gonna draw that eyebrow. And you can see like the eyebrow follows the brow ridge. It's all about that 3D form. And one thing I'm already noticing, and this is why you look at like the relationships of where things are. So here to here is really short, whereas you've got like a wider amount of space there. So one thing I'm gonna do is rub that out, find roughly where that might be better, and that could have been what was throwing the face off. So I'm gonna find that, make the space wider. Maybe if we go about to like here, and then I can draw that ear back in, so top of the eye, bottom of the nose. Now I'm just gonna draw where that hairline is going. Gets to about here. Start here and then there. Top of that hairline, and you can see it still follows the structure of the skull. We're still doing that whole circle, and then thinking about the planes of the face. And by no means is this perfect at all. Right here, we've got like the edge of that cheekbone. So I'm just gonna draw that in. With the lips, I can do, one way I've learnt to do it is you can actually just do like a shadow shape on the top. Oh boy. Okay. Need to still try and maintain that shape. And then do like a shadow shape underneath. Kind of like that. With this. And then where the neck actually starts, not right up against, just more to the side where the ear is. So you can draw that neck coming down like this. And here we're gonna have like the collarbone. And you can see they've lightly sketched in where the hair kind of is. I'm just kind of trying to follow the shapes and things I see here and take in what I can for my own account. And then right here on the neck, you've got this shadow kind of shape forming because of there's a muscle that goes here. Yeah, the sternocleidomastoid is this kind of shape here that they're indicating here. And I'm just gonna put that in shadow as well. I'm gonna take my finger and just blend out parts and things that I don't really want. Take the rubber, rub that out. Can definitely blend that in. And we've more or less got our image. Not quite the exact same, because I know that there are definitely things different from here to here. But yeah, that's kind of how I'll go about studying things. And now I'm gonna try and take what I know and draw something from imagination. But yeah, I'll take this, blank out this half, take the book, I'll close it, put something to cover it, and yeah, let's draw a face more or less from what we've been studying. So similar sort of thing, draw the circle shape, draw the center line, and then I'll draw like that line either where the brow ridge is or where the eyes are gonna be. Then I like to draw the edge of the eye socket. I'm just gonna draw the edge of where the chin is gonna be. And remember, it's that kind of curved sort of cylinder shape, half a cylinder. Okay, so let's say we're gonna have our eyes here. So I'll just do that. Draw a circle shape. Draw where the other eye is gonna be. And let's say they're looking in this direction. So I'm just going to black out those eyes. So this is where the eye socket is, and you can see that I'm following the shape of the eye socket with this that's coming up, and with that circle shape I can indicate where the brow is gonna start. So we got our brow, and then eyes halfway down is where the nose is going to be, so roughly somewhere there, and then halfway down where the mouth is going to be. And you can see we're kind of getting this face sort of shape. So with the nose, I like to, this is just a me thing, but I like to do like a circle and then draw the nose. So I'm going to do that circle, then draw the nose. So I'm going to draw the edge, edge of that. There's our nose. I can definitely tell I've probably done this a bit too squished. So I'm actually just going to make the face shape wider. Like this. And this is just purely from imagination. What do I know about the face? And then you can go back to studying and then try again and see how much you retain. And I know that the brow ridge actually comes in. And then if you remember that measurement across from the nose, across from like around the top of the eye, so about there's where our ear is gonna be. And by no means is it perfect, but you can see that we're getting a face as we go along. That edge of the cheekbone here, I can still draw like a mini divot, so like a mini at the end, right where the chin is, and get that indicated. Now I'm gonna draw the edge of the jawbone, and then here actually, just take the rubber. Can always do this where that cheekbone is on the other side and lightly indicate it like that. With the mouth, same sort of thing. I'm actually just gonna draw like a bird shape, kind of like, so one way I've looked at doing mouths is actually just draw like a shadow shape, kind of like a bird shape, and then draw a shadow underneath. So I'm gonna do that. That gives us our mouth. Right where the ear is, we can draw where that hair starts. We can draw the middle of that hair. And then if you remember like the skull shape, just gonna follow that kind of skull shape feeling, or form. More, the word is form. And then if you remember where the neck starts, it doesn't start right up against the face. It starts more like not half, maybe 1/3 of the ear. So gonna draw the neck there, and then here, maybe about in line with this eye would be good. So gonna do that. And then just to show you the idea that how I'm thinking of this, I'm thinking of it as a 3D form. So yeah, I could do this, I could do this. But you can see that I'm thinking of it as a 3D form when I'm drawing it. I can draw where the collarbone is. Can draw, if you remember doing arms last week, you can roughly draw where that deltoid is, and then you can draw where the deltoid is on the other side. If you want, to be honest, no, no. So I'm just gonna draw the hair. You can see by no means do I always get it right. I'm just indicating the side of that. And I can do some like loose some kind of loose strands, but yeah, that's our face from imagination from what I've learned. Yeah, and then we can draw in the sternocleidomastoid if we want to. But yeah, that's how to draw the face. I'm kind of cutting it short there. So studying from the skull briefly, talking about areas of the skull and landmarks to look for, trying to study a face from the book or from reference, and then going to drawing from imagination. Also a bit of stylization with the way that I draw. I mean, you can take it further if you want. You can put in shadow if you want, you know. But yeah, hopefully that helps. Definitely recommend you spending more time than I have done on this. Yeah, so hopefully that helps.